My name is Jon Hendricks, and I'm 85 years old. That is, my body's 85, I'm 6. And I first came into France in June 1944, D-Day plus 12.
June 18, 1944, 5 a.m. Jon Hendricks, a young African-American, lands on the coast of Normandy at Utah Beach. He is 23 years old and finds himself fighting somebody else's war.
And it's incredible. It was so bad, you know, to be serving in the army of a country that hates you that much, you know. It's just awful. So it was very demoralizing for us, you know.
Racism, segregation, and intolerance lead to resentment. Jon's enemy is the white American soldier.
The American Army officers didn't want us being friendly with the English people, so they told them that we were monkeys, and that we had operations to have our tails removed. You know, that they were terrible. It was incredible. You know, that they would say things like that, but they did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jon Hendricks.
The draft got him, Sam's got him, now in the army. He's up at Beverly, ready for training and always thinking of bread and the garbage stripes. The butt of your gripes. You got the blues that you hardly can lose. All we're doing all day is marching. We carried the Garand automatic rifle, 9 pounds, and the full field pack was 18 pounds. And we marched, and the steel helmet was very heavy. So after we marched 18 miles, we put up our pup tent and we unloaded our stuff and spread our blankets, you know, and went to sleep because it was evening by that time. And the next morning, we woke up and looked around, and we saw off in the distance this farmhouse. And we take a walk over and check it, you know. There was a family of 2, a husband and his wife. They were very warm, very sweet to us. They dug up some Calvados they had buried in the barn. The husband said, so we bury it because we do not want Le Boche to have it. The Boche, they called the Germans. And it was the first human treatment we had ever received. So I said, I like this country. I fought bravely, courageously, tenaciously. But they took me anyway.
Symbole du D-Day, à l'occasion des commémorations du 60e anniversaire du débarquement. Ce matin en Normandie, ce sont des parachutistes qui ont ouvert les cérémonies. Ils étaient 600 essentiellement américains à sauter dans le secteur de Sainte-Marie-de-Lise.
We were the Jews of America.
And we had been segregated all of our lives, you know. And we at least felt, okay, we're going to go and fight these people, but we're going to do it all together. But that was not so.
In the ranks of the army, relations between African American and white soldiers are tense. John flirts with young French women, which is against the rules. African American soldiers are strictly forbidden from engaging in sexual relations with white women. Rumors of rape ignite existing racial tensions. Approximately 100 African American soldiers are sentenced to death by American war tribunals in France. The white soldiers' jealousy degenerates into deep hatred.
They got so mad, you know, and they called us niggers and black asses, and they were very nasty to the people and to the girls. And we said, look at the superior people.
John receives death threats from white soldiers. As a simple corporal, he is unarmed and therefore cannot defend himself. It seems that escape is his only means of survival.
I ran away because of the... To the army, I was a criminal. To me, I was just running for my life, you know. But they said I was a criminal. I was not a criminal. I did criminal things, like I took their gas and sugar and sold it, you know. But that was survival. Yeah, that was survival. I did that to survive.
The US military police find him and lock him up in a prison not far from Marseille, in the south of France. In 1946, John is released on good behavior. His stay in France has been a revelation. He has been treated as a white man's equal for the first time in his life. He goes home to the United States, determined to fight for the cause of African Americans.
I studied law. I enrolled in the university as a pre-law student. I wanted to give my services to the NAACP for helping African American people, because we were beginning to go to court at that time to secure the rights that were denied us by the society. And I wanted to be a help in that.
Did you write a song about this fight?
Just tell me the truth. Did you hear me sing that? I'm tired of dying while I'm still alive. I feel I'm drowning in a sea of jive. I'm saturated with abuse of youth. Somebody tell me the truth.
Everyone's rapping about the hows and whys, but they just happen not to be too wise. Truth's disappearing till it's out of sight. Somebody tell me what's right. Nowadays, wrong is right, down is up, black is white, bad is good, truth a lie. Evil men live while good men die. Whoa. Don't talk about peace while you're fighting a war, 'cause I don't want to hear it. right. People are hurting, everyone's uptight. Can't stand this madness, 'cause I'm much too couth. Somebody tell me the truth. Yeah. Somebody tell me the truth. Somebody. Hey, somebody. Somebody tell me like a T.I. is now. Hey, somebody. Well, somebody. Hey, somebody. Tell me the truth. The truth.
One day, some men came in a big boat, and they captured the children and set them afloat, bound for a land where there was work to be done for some bosses who didn't want to pay no one. Knavery? It was more like slavery. Now, while they was on the boats, they didn't sing and they didn't dance. Sorrow and the chains didn't give them much chance. Their only singing was to moan and groan in a minor key and a solemn tone.
The struggle for human rights of African people in America has been going on since the first ones landed. When I got to college, I decided, because they had some form of segregation that wasn't spoken or ordained, but just social. Like all of the African American students they would go into the student union and they would all go over here in this corner, and then all the other white students would have the whole place. And when I started going to the student union, I looked around and I saw that. And I said, so I would go over here. And I would sit at a table over here, and the other African-American students would be looking over at me, And so one of them came over, and we had a chat. I sat him down, And he says, why do you sit over here? I said, because if they had a law segregating me, I would fight against it. So why should I segregate myself? I'm sitting here because all you guys are over there. So the next couple of days, they all start sitting whoever they wanted to.
The blues are of the spirit, and the spirit is life. And all life is nothing but a small piece of the one great life, manifesting as the many. So if we don't share and protect life, we soon find out we ain't got any. Life is a spiritual force that every living being shares with every other living thing.
Sometimes
There's no difference between the blues and jazz. It's just nomenclature. Outside the church, you call it jazz. It doesn't make it any different from the music of the church. Got phlegm right on there. We'll work that up. That'll strengthen that. Yeah, I think that. Judith, you better get dressed. To all mankind, understanding and peace of mind. Well, if it's not asking too much. No, you change the chord every 2 beats. Heaven speaking one to all mankind. 1, 2, and peace of mind.
We have Jon Hendricks, who is with us this morning, and everybody knows him, the uncle of Bonnie Hopkins. Mr. Hendricks, he will come and sing something for us. He's here. We just want him to come and...
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you very much. Thank you. Heaven speaking to all mankind, understanding and peace of mind. But if it's not asking too much, please send me someone to love, someone to love. Tell the world how to get along. Hate won't enter when love is strong.
When the children got to the cities, they still sang the music of the church, but the words they were singing left the church in the lurch. In the church, women were called sister, and the music had no hues. Outside the church, women are called baby, and the music is called the blues.
Jon is first exposed to music at church. At 6 years of age, he starts singing gospel at his mother's side. Every Sunday, he and his 11 brothers and 3 sisters attend the sermon given by their father, the Reverend Alexander Brooks Hendricks.
I think my house is gone as part of this parking lot. There was there. I'm sorry the house is gone, you know, but it brings back a lot of memories. That over there, that store that was over there, it was run by a Jewish family, and they used to give my father credit because money was very hard to come by. It was during the Big Depression, you know. So they would trust my father, and he would eventually pay them, you know. But they would keep us fed, and they got some work for me too, singing. They were nice people. They were good people.
I feel like a motherless child.
Everybody in the neighborhood was poor. It didn't matter what race or religion or whatever. All the poor people were together. And that was good. I liked that. That was healthy. I enjoyed my childhood. I can't say it was a drag. It was great. Get these girls on television here.
Oh, no. Don't get me on television.
Wait a minute.
Give me television. What is it for?
This is a documentary on me about Art Tatum. Do y'all know about Art Tatum?
Why did you just say that?
Art Tatum.
No, what's that?
Art Tatum was a great jazz piano player, lived in that house, the second house off the corner there. And I used to know him when I was a kid around here singing. So.
Can you sing?
Sure. Every day I had a blues. Every day I have the blues. When you see me worried, baby, because it's you I hate to lose. All right? Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Gospel and the blues. These are the rhythms and sounds that forged Jon's style and personality. He makes his first foray into music with famous pianist Art Tatum.
After school, every day, I was here. And then I would sleep until 9 o'clock. Then I would go to the club for the show. We met, and we were both artistic, so we appreciated each other. He liked the way I could sing, and I could hear instrumental passages. You know, he could play and I could sing that. And that was rare. He used to recommend me as the vocalist whenever they wanted someone to sing. And he would say, Little Jon Hendricks, that's the guy. So I got a lot of work. Then, after he done ate and drank for free, then he tries to steal my gal away from me. Now do you call that?
Our next selection is the theme of the presentation tonight, Jon Hendricks.
When you work with Duke, you're always up in the sky. I mean, your feet are not on the ground. That man had a way of making each person that was with him feel like magic. He had a magic that he just spread around it's like a magician comes and goes whew, and sprinkles dust all over everybody, and everybody becomes 3 times themselves.
After the war, Jon returns to Toledo. He performs in jazz clubs to pay for his law school tuition. It is during this period that he is noticed by Charlie Parker, who encourages him to try and make it in New York. Jon goes to the city without a penny to his name in a second-class coach.
You can look it, get to the wicket, buy you a ticket, go! Go by bus, by plane, by car, by train. New York, New York, what they call a something else town. A city of more than 8 million people with 1 million people passing through every day. Some come just to visit and some come to stay. New York, New York, something else town, all right. East side, west side, uptown, downtown, there's one thing all New York City has, and that's jazz. One word, listen.
was a feeling of excitement to be here, but I had no work, and I didn't know what my future was going to be, you know. And I didn't know if Charlie Parker would remember me or not. And so I started not to go into the club after I started thinking about all this. And then finally, when I started to walk back to the hotel where my wife and daughter were, I thought, well, there's only one person who can help you, and that's Bird, and he's in that bar. So you got to go in. So I went in, and he was playing. I walked past the bandstand, and he stopped playing long enough to say, "Hey, John, how you doing, man? You want to sing some?"
John's career takes off in the late 50s. He forms a vocal trio with Dave Lambert and Annie Ross. Jon is one of the creators of a new style of vocal jazz known as vocalese. He writes lyrics for instrumental jazz standards.
What makes you a poet is how you express ideas in words. That's what makes anyone a poet. You have to have an idea to express first, and then you have to be able to express it in words that people will understand. Most poetry is, even to this day, difficult for the ordinary person, the ordinary working person, to take hold of because it's too intellectual. I think the way to reach people is to roll up your sleeves and speak straight, and then you can reach more people that way. So I use a kind of a folk poetry to write my words. They're words that everybody can understand.
Voice accompanies the band's melody and then replaces the instrument entirely. The vocal solo plays with the chords and breaks away from the harmony to become a completely improvised scat.
Go the motorcycle, hitting on one. Go the motorcycle, hitting on two. Hey, baby,
The album Sing a Song of Basie, in homage to pianist and conductor Count Basie, is a hit. The band gains legendary status, and for the next 5 years, one world tour follows another. One African-American man and 2 white people form an unusual trio in the then segregationist America.
We felt that it was perfectly right, so we didn't do it as a crusade against racism. You know, we just did it as 3 people who thought alike on the subject of singing jazz music. You know, it just happens that Annie Ross was English, Dave was an Irish guy from Boston, and I was an African American from Toledo, Ohio. That's just the way it was. We didn't plan to challenge anybody in any way, you know. Oh, I was 17, 18.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of music did you sing then on the river?
Pop songs of the day,
Like what?
jazz style.
With Jon, I'm not sure I was concerned about his color. I absolutely adored him. Perhaps his color made it more interesting. And I was of a mind at that time to build bridges between races. There was nothing in the world that could separate us.
This country is very racist in its thinking, you know.
Well, particularly in 1959.
Yeah, and they were very...
That was pre-Martin Luther King at that moment. And the only time you see a mixed couple in those days was if the white girl was a whore and the black man was her pimp. But, you know, I was a college student, and John was an intellectual, so we were a different kind of mix. Well, you know, John is so charming. Everybody loves him. And they talked, and he talked with my father. And my mother came over to me and said, he's a very handsome man. And I said, yes, Mommy. And she says, do you think he's colored? And I said, yes, Mommy. And she says, oh.
I always crack up when I hear that.
I gotta go. I wanna blow. I gotta go. I wanna blow. A lot of fun going on. I gotta run.
For the Hendricks, being a mixed couple is another way of defying segregation. They get a thrill out of it, in their personal lives as well as on stage.
I don't know what the best way to fight against racism would be, but I know if you mix people up in 2 generations, you wouldn't have any more races.
Jon has been performing on stage since he was 14 years old. He is the father of a style that still resonates today. Some of the greatest singers, including Al Jarreau, Bobby McFerrin, George Benson, and the Manhattan Transfer, were all trained or influenced by Jon.
And then the second. Each time a little slower than the one before. The first one really fast.
You'd like to announce this, the fast, you know, the Cloudburn.
Oh, yes,
This
yes,
is
yes,
his swan song. No.
Ah, mais oui, mais oui. Bien sûr. C'est un plus, comment on dit, fast.
Vite, le plus rapide.
Plus rapide.
C'est le plus rapide.
Le plus rapide chanson du monde. Je sais parce que j'écris les paroles.
I was blue and I was always wearing a frown because my gal had turned me down. Then we met and you could tell I knew from the first you were my love. Cause that's when your great cloudburst. My heart really flew the day you caught my eye. I hope that we two would never say goodbye. Clouds of gray have several lines where in every verse I found your love. And that's when your great cloudburst.
Now this one, I have a cassette tape that you can hear. So you can hear just how it's supposed to go.
Ah, si, pour les chorus et tout ça. Mais le thème, c'est une fois. Si.
Là. Donc ça, c'est 2 fois. Voilà. Ah oui, ça remonte là.
Ah, je comprends ce que tu veux dire.
Et après, ça fait 4 là. Là, ça passe.
But it's not just... No, it's funky. More African, you know. Africans are the most musical people on the earth. In Africa, the language is music, and rhythm is the means of expression. The drum is the main instrument. It wakes everybody up in the morning. They had a telephone system using the drum in Africa that's better than the American Telephone and Telegraph Company. It's more direct and it's more accurate, you know. We were brought over as slaves. That means we had no human rights. So they didn't feel that they had to set up any schooling for us because you don't set up schooling for your dog or your cat. You know, you just say, come over here, go there, and do it. You know. But we were forced to learn English in order to survive. So we had to learn a new language in a new country. But we not only learned the English language, we warmed it up. There are sounds in the English language that we don't have, like R. There are no R's in the African language. So when you say sure, you know, you say show, because the sound of R is alien to you. So when we wanted to verify something, we say sure enough, you know, sure enough. And soon, the white people that we served began to speak our version of the language. And today, the whole country speaks our language. The whole country dances to our music. All the young people in the country sing our songs. We are the arbiter of the cultural life in this country. And yet, no one taught us anything.
Every morning find me moaning.
Yes, Lord.
'Cause of all the trouble I see.
Yes, Lord.
Like losing gamble to me.
Yes, Lord.
Ever alone and crying the blues.
Yes, Lord.
I'm so tired of paying these dues.
Yes, Lord.
Lord, I try, really and truly try to find some relief, find some relief. Yeah, Lord, yeah, Lord.
Yes, Lord, just as quiet as possible.
Since the year 2000, Jon has been teaching at the University of Toledo. He takes his new career as a professor very seriously.
Like a full verse?
I was thinking maybe I should come in on the bridge after the solo.
It's also the opportunity to make a lifelong dream come true. Jon has formed a vocal orchestra with 10 singers to interpret jazz standards. He calls it his vocalstra.
Plenty of days and nights alone with my
I have young people right out of high school, and I tell them, you live in the only country in the world that does not claim its own culture. You live in the United States of America, who in every big city builds $1 million opera house. That's Italian. Another $1 million ballet company. That's a Russian culture. And they build huge buildings to show paintings. That's the French culture. And they totally ignore their own culture because of slavery. Because slavery teaches hatred. The only way one human being can enslave another human being is to hate that soul. Then he can do anything to it. And that's what America has done, not to us, to themselves. Because with all their power and their might, they are the only nation on this earth that has no culture. We are their culture, and we damn well know it.
In 1914, the year World War I began in Europe, ragtime was still America's most popular music. Nearly every middle-class home had a piano, and sales of sheet music.
By this video, you have seen the story of what jazz is and how it began. But you still haven't seen the truth of it. Because a lot of film time was spent talking about the houses in New Orleans, the houses of prostitution in New Orleans, as though that had anything to do with the music. And as though that were where the music was born. That is the popular conception of a society that is racist and hates its African people. I can ask you to pay attention to the truth about this music, because the truth will make you free. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I knew I wanted to live here because when I was 11 years old, and I was walking through here with two of my friends, the police ran us out. So I never forgot that. That's why I live here. I live here because I feel very strongly they don't want me to live here. So that's exactly where I wanted to live. Yeah.
Oh, here I am, surrounded.
A rose between two thorns.
Today, Jon is recognized by Toledo's elite society, who like to see him as the equivalent of a Nobel Prize-winning musician.
I know you will want to show this off, so the card can save till later, but I know you'll want to share this with people.
It's ironic for a man who grew up in the city's black ghetto.
Long live the king!
This is King Wamba.
The mayor's joined us this evening, and I believe he has something he'd like to share with you, Jon.
Can you imagine when this man came into the world all those years ago? If anybody would have speculated what he would have accomplished in his lifetime, I suspect they would have fallen shy of the mark. Pretty special, mister. Pretty special. Congratulations on behalf of all of us. God bless you, Jon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
It's not revenge. I think that's a peaceful way of fighting the battle of racism, you know. If someone wants to deny you something, go and sit in the middle of that.
To you, happy birthday, dear Jonathan. Happy birthday
Jon is one of the few African Americans in the neighborhood. In a white-dominated society, he's an exception to the rule. African Americans' fight for equality is far from over. Jon knows where he comes from, and he's happy to play along, but he does it with style.
We find that when people are confronted like that, they don't act racist anymore. They stop such actions. It's only when there's no action returned from the person scorned, like, the African American people don't respond to them. But if you respond, immediately they stop, because I think in their hearts, in their souls, they know how ugly that is and how wrong that is. And so if you confront them with it, which is what Judith and I do all the time, it seems to just disappear because it's not real in the first place. How can it be real that there is one human being better than another one? That's ridiculous. The idea is ridiculous. It's just people.
Hello? Hello? No, I like a lot of echo. That's a little much.
Jon gained this awareness in France in 1944 while drinking a glass of Calvados. It was then, after becoming a victim of racism in his own army, that his life changed for good. Since that fateful day, he has felt a deep sense of attachment to France and visits regularly to sing at jazz festivals. It's also an opportunity to perform with Michelle, one of his daughters who has settled in Paris. Through his music, Jon Hendricks has become the ambassador of a part of African American culture. He considers it unique and is proud to pass it on.
Every time they play this song, who I am and where and why all seem to pass me by. I only think of you, and darling, when I do, I only want to cry. Every time they play this song, all those memories return of when our love did burn, and you were mine alone, and I your very own. What lessons lovers learn. When will this poor heart of mine laugh and talk about the weather again? When will I stop feeling pain and my heart make back together again? Till then, every time they play this song, all the suffering I go through just brings me back to you. Perhaps it always will, that is at least until I find another you.